Record. Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 3 of the SuperiHER podcast. Today, I'm super excited to have my girlfriend Sakshi with me. She is known as Wellness with Sakshi on TikTok and Instagram, and I am super excited to be chatting with her. We've been waiting for a long time to, have our schedules finally aligned so that we can talk to each other. And so, Sakshi, welcome. I'm so excited.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
I'm
of
so
course.
excited to be here. Like you said, we've been trying to get this together for months, but I feel like the time today is right. So
Yes,
I'm
it's
very happy to
perfect.
be here.
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
it's awesome that you've started this podcast as well. Like the more health podcasts we have spreading the truth, the better. Like I think as many people that can share the truth, the better.
100%. And, it's really exciting because I feel like I see so many people waking up and recognizing, the true power of our body and like the miraculous nature of
Mhm.
how our body wants to heal itself and how there's so many things out there that are hindering our body from being able to function at its highest level. And so
Mhm.
it's wild and it's so exciting to see so many people learning and spreading this knowledge too so that other people can learn in like a compassionate and open-minded way. So
Mhm.
I know you're
And I
doing
feel like you share the things that you share, especially on TikTok, they're so a lot of the things that I've apart from the natural home births, everything else that you shared, I know about, I agree with, and of course the natural home birth has made a big impact in my life. Now I'm like I'm definitely going to have a natural home birth, but I
100%.
feel like the things that you share are just so bold and they're so brave and they make me want to be more brave with what I really want to share and see that
Mhm.
that's like the impact you're having not only on like individuals but even on other small creators like myself where I'm like dang girl like I want to like I feel like I can share what I really want to say because it is like you have to be really vulnerable and you have to be really brave to like go against what mainstream advice and health is and to just speak the truth and stand up for people.
100%. I know. I feel like it's a hostile environment out there. And so so many people are, the majority is still so locked in to
Mhm.
this mind state of the human body is innately flawed. And when I became a doula and stepped into that, space, it was really blatantly clear to me that something was wrong. And that same realization has happened for many other doulas, birth keepers, and
Mhm.
midwives, who recognize that the system is it's not broken, but it's designed this way intentionally to essentially hide that divine power that's written in our feminine cells, and it's such a rite of passage to
Mhm.
bring your child into the world naturally in a space that is yours, that you feel comfortable in, relaxed in, surrounded by the people that you love. And so that's honestly where it started for me was researching natural birth, because I knew that once I stepped into understanding holistic health and all the chemicals in our environment, I go, oh, well, I know that I don't want to be on drugs when I bring my baby into the world because I know that it's somehow transferring to my baby. And
Mhm.
so, when you have fear about something, what do? You learn about it. You learn
Mhm.
about it to alleviate that mystery, that unknown, because it's the unknown that's so scary to us sometimes. And so I started reading natural birth story after natural birth story of moms with positive experiences birthing their children at home, and how it was the most empowering and enlightening ego death and rebirth experience of their entire lives, and how it's the greatest gift that you can give to your children, truly. And
Mhm.
so, that just started. And then, you look at all of the interventions and just the cold clinical disconnected nature of how the modern medical healthcare system treats birth, labor, birth, and
Mhm.
postpartum. And you just go, holy shit.
The
Something's
thing is,
not right
right?
here. It's
I would never have questioned hospital births. And I
nope.
think that's like basically what you can apply to everything. You just don't question what people tell you, what mainstream advice is until you've gone through like a shock or like a period of suffering or you're exposed to it like you were.
Yep.
So for me, like I had to fall sick in order to really wake up and start to question things. And what that gave me was a mindset to start questioning everything. Now I no longer believe like just mainstream advice. Now I start questioning everything. And genuinely, when you, I think maybe if a few years ago I saw a video of someone being like, do natural birth, I probably, the divine feminine energy, the ego death, everything you're saying, I wouldn't have probably been as curious or open-minded about it as I am now. Once I started seeing your videos, I am now like even when I'm going on first dates, I'm like, I'm having a home birth.
Yep,
Like I
yep.
want to have a home birth.
No, 100%, because we're all so conditioned from
Mm.
such a young age to fear and view birth as disgusting and an event that you don't want to feel, something you don't want to see, something you don't want to be present at. And so our men and especially our women are just
When I first started, everyone online is like, pick a niche, pick a niche. I'm like, I refuse to pick a niche. And I think you're the same. Like,
I'm
I
100.
want to be able to, I don't think you can pick a niche when it comes to health and wellness. Like, it is literally all connected, your mind, body, and spirit. And I want to be able to learn about every area and share about
Yep.
it because it all impacts each other. Like, you can't just focus on one area without impacting the rest.
100%. I know. I hate the pick a niche thing because
I
I'm like
refuse. I'm so stubborn. I refuse to listen.
all over the place. I'm like,
Yeah.
I had to drop like the banking system and stuff like that. I'm like, you
Yeah.
can't be talking about finance too, and spiritual warfare, and birth, and like
Everything.
holistic health, and all all these things. You gotta chill a little bit. Like you're gonna confuse people. So earlier you talked about how you fell sick and that was kind of your moment of waking up and
Mhm.
journey into learning about holistic health and how everything's connected and you began healing yourself. So what happened and how did you get here?
It's honestly, there's just so many different parts and components. It was such a long journey. Like I would say now I'm really experiencing the fruits of my labor over the last 4 years. Like, when you're trying to find solutions and you're in a state of healing, it's really one step forward, two steps back all the time. And I think if anyone's listening that's struggling a bit, and you're
The
just
growth
thinking, I'm
isn't
trying so
linear.
hard, I just want to keep going,
Yeah.
you will experience the fruits of your labor. You just have to keep going. But essentially what happened with me was for many, many years was restricting carbs, under eating, undernourishing, over exercising. Because in my head, I was like, eating super clean and exercising a lot is healthy, but I just took it to an extreme. And then I didn't realize the impact your mindset has on your body. I wasn't aware at that point that a negative thought can actually negatively hurt your body. I had no idea. It's very normal. I was a young girl, 21 years old. It's very normal not to know that yet. Um, and I was in a toxic relationship for 2 years and I was in this chronically stressed state. And I let my mind just become really negative and really stressed for 2 years, not even realizing that this was destroying my health within. And I once heard a trauma coach say that pretty much all digestive issues are linked to some kind of emotional trauma that's been trapped. So I just thought that was mind blowing. But I started my journey. I moved to a new city, started a job, started experiencing all of these issues. And I think what people really forget, at least I didn't realize, is first you have these stomach issues and you think, oh, it's just isolated, it's just your stomach. But really, when you start to have stomach issues and gut issues, it's like your sleep is affected, your mood is affected, your energy is affected because
Wow.
everything is interlinked. Like I was literally angry. I would be walking down the streets and I would be angry, but then I would become aware. I'd be like, wait, I don't want to be angry. Why am I angry? And I would just have these angry, intruding thoughts. So it was just all of these different factors. And I'll never forget the moment where I woke up and I was listening to Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza. I was standing here in my kitchen and he was telling the story of this woman who just went through a really traumatic experience and she kept reliving it in her head for years and got cancer and got all these diseases. And that was a moment where I was like, oh my God, your mind really affects your body. And that was when I started using mindset as a tool and, made a promise to myself to be as positive as possible, practice gratitude.
Yeah.
And then from then on, I discovered the pro metabolic community. So I think I started eating pro metabolic around almost 2 years ago. So it's been 2 years.
Nice.
Um, and then all the strategic supplements, all these different tools and biohacks, like, and I think one of the best things I did for myself, well, actually, so the worst thing that ever happened to me was falling sick. And now it's become the best thing that ever happened to me. And what happened is when you're in that anxious sick state, I would literally spend entire weekends on my own. But that as a result of that, I found this like immense like love for myself. And now I'm just like so happy being on my own. I don't feel like I depend on anyone. So it was really just like this huge gift, you
Yeah,
know. I think being able to spend time on your own is a superpower, really.
it is.
Um, so yeah,
It's
that's been a
so
bit about my
important.
journey.
Yeah, yeah, no, I love that. It really is. It's wild how it is important to gain that independence and take that time to get to know yourself and to explore those
Mhm.
parts of yourself that can be manifesting into toxic or poor behaviors that are causing, chronic stress and just a really poor outlook on life. I used to have a terrible outlook on life.
Mm.
And it was also huge in my journey to practice that mindfulness and to practice rewiring those neural networks through catching yourself, through watching your thoughts. I love the book, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. That was actually the
Mhm.
first book that I read since high school, when we were forced to read, and they,
Mhm.
like, strip that desire to learn out of you, and they force you to read books that you don't want to read. And so
Oh, yeah.
after school, you no longer want to read. And so it had been years since I had actually opened a book and started reading. But that book seriously just kind of hugely opened the gateway into really understanding the power of your thoughts. And
Mhm.
I used to have chronic depression, anxiety, all kinds of intrusive thoughts. I would come up with the craziest scenarios in my head, and it was almost satisfying in a way to be so negative. It can be addictive
Oh,
to
yes.
live.
Darkness is way easier to get sucked into.
It really is. But that is like that path of least resistance. That's what's easy. That's what's branded to us.
Mhm.
Mental illness is glamorized at this point. Everyone and their uncle has some sort of
Mhm.
mental illness these days. And if we put even a fraction of emphasis on how important your thoughts are, and that you can practice cultivating a positive mind state, the world would be a much different place. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, I absolutely love emphasizing how important mindset is. I can't stand the victim mentality and just sitting there. For me, every birthday candle, every shooting star, every synchronicity on a clock or a sign, I always wished for happiness and to feel good, fulfillment, but above all, happiness. And that's something that we have to work to cultivate.
Mhm.
It really
It
is.
yeah, it really comes down to, I think, self-awareness. Like, you need to
Yep,
practice self-awareness like it's your
100%.
religion, like, multiple
100%.
times during the day. The second you feel anxious or unhappy, or you get a thought coming into your head, you can just witness that thought, you know? You don't have to you aren't that thought, you aren't that feeling. You can step outside of it the second you feel a bit uncomfortable. I think it's an incredibly powerful thing to practice and to become aware of. And the book I'm reading right now, it's called When the Body Says No by Gabor Mate. I hope I said
Mm,
that right, but he is an absolute genius, and I just really want to share like what one of the concepts are that he's teaching, and that's he states that there's such a thing as a cancer personality, and there's so much research and all of these doctors that have come together and commented on how people with certain kinds of cancers tend to have the same personality, and they tend to be people who have suppressed their emotions and have gone through
100%.
decades of their life suppressing their emotions, repressing them, not dealing with them, being caregivers but not taking care of themselves. Like, they researched like thousands of people who had hundreds to thousands of people who had lung cancer, who were smokers, to see who would get lung cancer, and the people who ended up getting it. So it wasn't, oh, you smoke, therefore you'll get lung cancer. That's not how it works. Otherwise, no one would smoke anymore if it was a given. But they looked who actually got it, and it wasn't the smoking that determined it. It was these emotional factors, all these people that are just neglected themselves, suppressed and repressed emotions. Like, I think that's a big part of becoming self-aware, the fact that you can like learn to let go of these negative emotions, and you honestly become so much more free and happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And
It's just fascinating.
it's wild because if you suppress that, you stuff that the
Oh.
grief or the loss or
Mhm.
the anger, whatever, down, and that's circulating in your body, you never allow it to release and to move forward. That can actually, down to a cellular level, affect gene expression. And if you turn
Mhm.
on that negative gene expression of where, you're turning on, the poor, possible diseases in your genetics and whatever, you're opening up a door to possible dis-ease. But if you
Mhm.
cultivate that state of higher vibration, and you allow yourself to release what doesn't serve you, and you practice that positive high vibrating state of being, you can really turn on that positive gene expression, of where you turn on the best parts of your gene and health. And so
Absolutely.
it's absolutely wild. I
We
love.
can just use this simple example of like there was so much research done on people who got dogs, and it was found that they lived 10 years longer because
Oh,
of the love they were feeling. So like all people just love dogs and cats and pets because they make them feel this feeling of love. Like intuitively we always know what's best for us, and the feeling of love is so healing and so powerful. They also did, I don't remember what, I can't pronounce the testing. I think it was kineology or I'm not sure what it is, but I can like send it to you later. But
okay,
they did it and they tested the effect negative emotions and fear has on your muscles. And it was
okay.
found that fear reduces your muscle strength by 50%.
That's
So if you're
wild.
having fearful thoughts, like you immediately, like your body just becomes weaker. Like it has a huge impact. I do think like mindset, I do think mindset is one of the most important factors. But in my healing journey specifically, like I found out about the mindset stuff first. But I would say there was a lot of physical components that also helped me heal, like the strategic supplements I took, like all the tools I implemented. I think those two, like if you combine them, it's really powerful. Like you'll definitely be able to support your body, the
100%.
physical and the mental.
I get so many comments that, when I talk about something that can be kind of triggering, as far as, birth control, PCOS, or
Mm,
depression, certain, mental ailments. um how some people, I'll talk about how lifestyle can be paramount in helping yourself heal from these things. And people get pretty defensive because it's a tough thing to grasp. But they say, I can't just eat fruit and go to the gym and think that my body's going to fix it. I'm like, oh, that's definitely that's one way to look at it. But that's you're
mm,
kind of coming at it from the wrong direction. I understand that it from an outside perspective, you want to sit in that victim mind state, and sit in that place of fear, because there are those two core emotions, which is love and fear. And we know from studies on plants, when people use, words that stem from, fear, as in like hatred, jealousy, anger, when you say something negative to a plant, its electromagnetic frequency goes down.
mhm,
It can sense that these negative words, and they have a physical cellular impact.
mm.
And these
You
this
have to believe you can get better before you can get better,
you do,
definitely.
you have to believe. And it's belief, faith, bliss, inspiration, and love are just the greatest emotions, that are such an investment in your health and
Mhm.
your future. Like, this is, I 100% agree with you that you should invest, as much money as you can, and as much time and energy
All
as
your
you're
disposable
to
income, yeah.
consciously put into yourself, because you are your greatest investment, 100%.
Mhm.
And this mindset of, I can't just eat fruit and run every day and think that this is going to heal my depression. It goes far deeper than that. You have to put in the work, and you have
Mhm.
to have the vision and see the light at the end of the tunnel, and truly have the discipline and willpower to get there.
Or
Nothing
just
great.
to say that you don't have the money to be healthy,
I
you know?
know.
Like, there's a million ways. I know obviously I shouldn't judge. I don't know what position people are in, but there's a million ways to make money online these days. And I really see you if you want to be rich or if you want money or if you want success or if you want love or you want relationships, the foundation is investing in yourself. And
100%.
it all comes down to like if you really think you're going to become hugely successful or achieve all your dreams by having poor health, it's not going to happen. The fastest way to fast track to your dreams and achieving what you want, becoming the person you know you are, you know you're supposed to be, because we all have that drive deep down, is giving your body as much energy as possible. Like that's literally the
100%.
foundation. That's why I love these tools that I use every day. I know you take Shilajit as well. Like red light therapy is amazing. I think the blessing and the curse of being a human being is you can literally keep surviving even and you can adapt and keep surviving in an incredibly unhealthy state. So that just becomes your normal. And people will live decades just
Great
never knowing what it really feels like to feel so good and so energized and
to know.
inspired, like to feel motivated and inspired and to not feel anxious. That's just an energy production issue.
I know.
Money is just good health. It's just energy. If you have enough energy, you will make money. If you have enough energy, you will have good relationships.
Yep.
Like it literally just that's why I'm like my red light device, it's expensive. I saved up for it. I waited till Black Friday. I was, I was mindful about it, but it's one of the best investments I've made into myself. Like throughout all of winter, I've had energy, even though there's about 6 hours of daylight
Seriously.
in the UK
Wild.
every day.
I know.
It's
I love learning about new things and adding in new components to my wellness routine to try to give my body the biggest
there's
boost that it
self-care
possibly can
practices.
have.
Yeah.
It detoxifying what it doesn't need. And that's another thing though that I really want to touch on this, energy and creating the space in order to cultivate the life that you want, because so many people say I don't have the time, I don't have the energy, and I don't have the money. There if there's a will, there's a way, and
Yeah.
you have to cut out the things that no longer serve you. And for me,
Mhm.
it was very important to cut out, things that were honestly a waste of time and not adding to my value. It's okay to relax sometimes when you
Mhm.
need to rest, you need to restore, you need
But
to.
you can relax doing gua sha. You can relax, you
There
can
are still productive ways to relax. But I used to be the kind of person who would say, I don't have the time. Yet I
Mm,
watched hours
same,
of Netflix. I
same. You
hours
don't have
of
the
Netflix.
energy.
Nope,
Yeah.
you don't have the energy. But if you cut these things out and you just start incrementally adding small things into your routine, like reading 5 pages of a book a day, you would be
That's
shocked.
my goal,
You would
yeah.
be shocked at the confidence this adds to you, the amount of
Mhm.
energy, larger attention span that it adds.
That's huge,
It's
yeah.
wild. When you start making small shifts, they compound into one huge change. That's another book that I absolutely love. That's a super
Yeah.
short, easy read. Is The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy.
Oh,
Like,
I read it, yeah.
yeah,
It's amazing. Because
it's such a
the
good
next
easy book.
5 years are gonna go by anyway.
Yeah.
Like, the next if you're not moving forwards, you're moving backwards. Like, people
Yep.
think, "Oh, I'm just gonna stay the same." Nothing in life is permanent,
Stagnant
okay?
is
The only
backwards.
thing that's permanent is impermanence. So if you're
Yep.
not conscious, you're not putting work into yourself, in 5 years time you're not going to be in a better place. Like you really, but it's so rewarding. It's so rewarding. And you know what, for us, like for example, we went through those years of like struggle and perseverance, etc., and it's going to keep continuing, but it becomes easier. Like I never walk down the street and start craving like junk food. I don't remember the last time I went and bought junk food. I simply don't care. I don't think about it. I don't crave it. I never book a gym class and think, oh, I don't feel like going. It's not even a thought in my head anymore. For years it was, and now it just becomes a habit. So it's not a struggle forever. Like you really
Nope.
do get the fruits of your labor.
100%, 100%. It becomes so fulfilling, so rewarding to continually invest in your development. A hundred
Mhm.
percent. There is nothing more rewarding than watching yourself grow and evolve into a better and better person. There is, oh my gosh, and you learn more skills, you have more value, there are more
You attract
opportunities.
people like we attracted each
Hundred
other.
percent, 100%. Sakshi and I knew that we had some sort of like kindred connection because when you level up, you begin to attract other people of higher caliber, higher vibration,
Mhm.
and then these people come into your life and teach you and add value to you, and you can it's wild. It's
Like, I'm
wild.
so charged up from this conversation, you know? Like, honestly, like, as soon as I
100%.
saw you there, I was like, we would never have met. Like, this is one of the reasons I created my page so I can meet like-minded people because it can become quite lonely if you're really, really love improving yourself, etc. But I will say, when you do become that person, you will attract people. So it's
100%.
not lonely for long.
I know, and I do want to reiterate that it will not be a lonely journey for long. I have a girlfriend who she struggles because she moved here from a different state. You know, you uproot yourself and move to another place, and she was very conscious about her health. She's got type 1 diabetes, and so she has to work harder than a lot of us do in order to feel some semblance of energy,
Mhm.
motivation, fulfillment, and whole health. And so it's difficult for her, but she gained this friend group, and they little by little, because obviously human nature, we want to fit in, we want to feel accepted, we want to add value to our community, we want to play our part and fit in, and that's just part of what makes us so special too, you know,
Mhm.
is thriving with each other. And you know, she wanted to fit into her group, and you know, little by little they started chipping away at her intellectuality and her desire for health. For, you know, she was extremely conscious about what she put in, on, and around her body. And you know, little by little, you know, they say that you are the sum of the closest five people around you. You can easily become who you surround yourself with, which is why it's also important to, when you remove what no longer serves you, unfortunately sometimes it's important to remove the people who keep us down. And you know, it's nothing personal, but it's something that you have to do in order to invest in your highest growth. And you
Mhm.
know, it's wild how, you know, these people would mock her for reading books, and they'd mock
Yeah.
her for
That's
not.
why a lot of people don't change. You know your friends will mock you. You know that they will judge you. Even if they don't mean to, they're probably just doing it because it's triggered some
Feeling
insecure part of themselves that they're judging, you know?
100%, 100%. And that's another important thing, is to understand that what other people think about you is, first of all, none of your business. Second of all, most of the time people are going to be projecting feelings of inferiority or, you know, insecurity onto you because they feel that they aren't doing enough. They don't feel like they're enough. They are not
Mhm.
solid in who they are. They know deep down that they could be doing better. And so instead of taking the hard path, but the best path and the most rewarding and fulfilling path, they take the easiest path, which is that of, you know, the path of least resistance. And that can be, you know, um, giving in to those negative feelings, and that can be jealousy. And those can manifest into, you know, poor behavioral patterns, like pulling down your friends when they're trying to
Mhm.
grow and evolve
Mhm.
and become a higher version of themselves. And so it's important to have that radical self-awareness and objectivity in situations like that, to be able to step outside and recognize, you know, is this reality, or is this someone projecting their perception of reality onto me? And so yeah,
I think it's a lot easier. Like for me, it was easy because I moved to a new city. I had no friends, absolutely no family. So I've always kept my circle really small. Like the friends that I have a core group of friends. They come with me every weekend to work in a cafe. Like they have their own thing going on. Like we make each other happy and we inspire each other. But I know there's people that you're still with the people you went to high school with, you know, you still live in the same city and therefore it can be really hard to kind of break out of that. But as you say, it is the most fulfilling path. And honestly, like you don't owe anyone anything. And someone once said to me, like, because I was saying, oh, I would feel bad leaving this friend. I would feel bad. And then he was like, why are you putting so much importance on you in their life? Like that's a bit arrogant, don't you think? Like, why do you think that they won't survive without you? Like, everybody's the main character of their own story. Like, don't think that you're such a big deal in someone's life. Like, people will survive, and you're not doing
Yep,
them a favor by, this sounds so savage, but you're not doing them a favor by staying in
no,
their life if it's not serving you. Like,
100%.
I really love that, to think that, why do I think I'm in such a big importance to someone else? Like, I'm my main character in my life.
Yep,
Everyone else is the main character in their life.
yep,
Worry about yourself. And for example, like, if you're selfish and you just, selfish sounds like a negative word, but if you really just put all that time and energy into yourself, like, one day your cup will start flowing over and you will be so willing to, like, help others. And I think that's
yep,
where we're at the beginning of a journey, but that's where we are now. And that's
yes.
exactly what happens when you put so much work on yourself. Your cup starts overflowing and you just want to help others feel good. And yeah, it's an amazing feeling.
You are 150% right. It's so true. If you truly feel so compelled to help people in the future, it really is important to first and foremost heal and raise yourself up. Like she said,
Mhm.
you don't owe anyone anything, but you owe yourself everything. You really
Mhm.
do. Your body gives you life. Your body gives you life. This is the vessel that carries your soul and how you interpret your human experience. And it's important to cultivate the highest level of operating possible so that when your cup is full, and like Sakshi said, it will overflow and your high vibration will reverberate outwards. It really will. Your love for yourself will 100% reverberate outwards. And it's important to lead by example. No one's going to listen to you if you're not walking the walk yourself.
Mhm.
And so it's important to not hold back your growth because you will make the most positive impact by focusing inward and healing and cultivating that high level of being in yourself first and foremost because it
And
will.
it's addictive. It is the most addictive thing. Like, once you start, you don't have to worry about it. Like, it's so addictive.
It really
Like,
is.
how would we recommend people get started on this journey? Because I would say, like, yes, self-awareness is so important, but it's almost so hard. It's not tangible. You can't put it on paper and put some steps in. For me personally, even though I was aware of, I'd read all the mindfulness books, I didn't really start healing until I took care of the physical aspect as well as a mindfulness aspect. So for me, in order to heal and in order to have the energy to, like, be inspired and no longer feel anxious and to go after what I want and to work on myself and etc., I, like we said, invested in myself in these strategic supplements like Shilajit. Shilajit is a supplement with huge amount of minerals. Investing in things like gua sha and facial reflexology, I've literally done them almost every day for a year, and they put you in this parasympathetic state where you just feel so relaxed. It's where healing can occur. And the next morning, I always wake up feeling amazing because stress was a huge issue for me. I would literally feel the stress in my body and my mind. And it was a huge thing that I had to overcome. So a lot of my tools are for overcoming stress. But I think if you give your body that foundation, the tools, the physical tools, in order to feel more energized, like, the rest will just fall into place because I think it's an act
100%.
of self love. It is an act of self love to invest in yourself. But I am really passionate about supplements. I mean, there will be a lot of health practitioners that I respect out there that will say supplements aren't going to solve anything. And I do think you should never blindly supplement. You should never go out there and just don't go to a health food store and buy their conventional supplements. I can guarantee, just don't go do that.
No,
It has
no.
to be like whole food sources, bioavailable.
Yes.
Even like for me, like, I didn't eat meat for a lot of my life. And so when I realized how good liver was for you, I started taking beef liver supplements because I just wasn't there yet. I'm still not there yet. I know I will get there, but I'm not there yet where I'm, like, cooking with it. I'm taking baby steps, but I take the
It takes
supplements
time,
every day,
for
and
sure.
I feel so energized. Like,
Huh?
the dosage is, like, 4 a day or 4 to 8 a day, and I take 2 a day, and I'm like, "I can't take any more because 'cause I'm like, ugh, I have so much energy."
Dude, it's nature's
Nature's
multivitamin.
multivitamin,
It's
yeah.
wild. Like you get CoQ10, high amounts of B vitamins, which a lot of us are deficient in. The birth control
Mm.
pill usually depletes our B vitamins. It's super rich in iron, selenium, vitamin A,
Copper, huge, yeah.
vitamin D. Like it's wild. It's literally nature's multivitamin, and it's these vitamins in their most bioavailable forms too, these
Hmm.
vitamins and minerals. And so, this is such a food for fertility too. It's wonderful for women who are pregnant, or trying to get pregnant. It really is food for fertility. This is a superfood. And
Yeah.
so this was pivotal in my healing too, and like I want to backtrack a little bit and kind of go through kind of what helped me heal.
Oh, please, I would love to
Whatever.
hear.
Like
Yeah.
I love talking about it. I want to talk about it a little bit more in the future too, but for me, I was on
In all our future
pharmaceuticals.
podcasts. Well,
Seriously, pharmaceuticals my whole life, antidepressants, anti-anxieties, allergy
really?
medications, birth control, migraine medications, all kinds of stuff. And so, and then I had a lot of trauma in my childhood as well that I had no idea that I suppressed. And I participated in all kinds of unhealthy, poor habits, lifestyle habits, and foods that I would put in my body, like fast food and processed foods like Cheetos, artificial colors, dyes and artificial flavors, preservatives, and genetically modified grain and refined sugars, all kinds of stuff. I smoked cigarettes a pack a day for 3 years, and
Really?
it's wild.
Wow.
I
I
stopped.
smoked at uni as well, but not probably not a pack a day.
Girl, for 3 years, kind of on and off for those 3 years, but I would chain smoke cigarettes and just drive around in the middle of the night for hours listening to music. It was so bizarre. I lived a complete opposite schedule.
Yeah.
So my circadian rhythm was trashed. It was completely trashed. It was almost non-existent. There was a point in my life where I would go to bed in the winter when the sun would set, and I would go to bed as the
Nice.
sun would rise, and then I would wake
Mhm.
up when the sun would set. And this was when I was my most depressed and
Mm.
completely disconnected. And, eventually I started slowly coming back, and then I would wake up at 11 a.m. And so it was important for me to get my sleep back on track, because sleep is so important for hormone production. Almost every function
Most
in the
important,
body
yes.
needs quality sleep. You need to heal. Sleep is when your body heals itself, along
Mhm.
with stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system as opposed to the sympathetic nervous system. Fight or flight, adrenaline, cortisol, all those stress hormones, hinder our body's ability to sit in a restful state and heal itself.
This
But
is just to stop you just for 1 second. This is why I look orange because I have my blue light blocking light bulbs, which have
man,
really improved my sleep. But please continue. We can talk about
yes,
that later.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Which is so important. Getting rid of screens, or at least using blue light blocking glasses,
Mm.
or yes, like a blue light blocking light at
Bulb,
the end of
yeah.
the night, dim light. I have like dim warm lights at the end of the night that I'll read
I
with.
love my red light. I
Yes,
love it.
100%. So, so good for calming down the sympathetic nervous system. It really is. That was another huge thing that I learned when studying birth, because it's so important to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is where you produce those hormones necessary to have a normal, physiologic, undisturbed, efficient labor and birth, like oxytocin and endorphins, the body's natural painkillers, and oxytocin, the love hormone, which stimulates, along with prostaglandins, which stimulate contractions. But you can't produce these hormones properly if you're in
Mm.
fight or flight mode. And so the same goes with just everyday life, taking deep oxygenating nose breaths that tell your body that you are safe. Because when you take these shallow breaths all the time, you're telling your body that you're not safe. Because when you're out of breath,
Mhm.
you're doing that, and it's taking all the blood away from your vital
Mhm.
organs. Your pupils are dilating so that you can see better. Your blood goes to your extremities and your muscles so that you can fight or flight. It's wild. And, we think that we live, such safe and protective lives, which we do, but we have so many more stressors than our ancestors did. And they're on a micro level, and they compound to
Huge stresses. You
to
don't have to feel like you're stressed to actually be under stress. We're constantly under stress. And
seriously,
if your liver isn't functioning, if you're not feeding it your liver, and you're not feeding yourself the right nutrients, you're not going to be able
100%.
to deal with those stresses.
100% liver, eating liver helps with liver function too, my friends. But so what helped
You
me,
sound like a totally different person. I can't even
girl,
believe that. Like
night
that's so
and
crazy to
day,
me.
night and day. I used to be someone who laughed at manifestation because I didn't
Mm,
understand it. I was someone
same.
who said everything gives you cancer as an excuse to continue my poor habits. I watched Netflix every single night. I, would take dabs out of my dab rig, and, I would eat a bag of hot Cheetos or something. I loved Taco Bell. I cooked. I've always loved to cook, but I would cook, like Italian food, pastas, nothing.
Mm,
I mean, besides my grass-fed beef that I would use or organic chicken, because I worked at a restaurant where they emphasize the importance of a happy animal for your health,
mhm,
for the flavor, and for the environment. So thankfully, eventually I transitioned to that when I was probably like 20 years old. But I had terrible insomnia too, because I took an ADHD medication for 5 years, very high dose. And it's so crazy how we're not taught to tune into changes that happen within our body and within our routines, our sleep patterns, our menstrual cycles. Your menstrual cycle, if you're a woman, is a vital sign. It is the
mhm.
World Health Organization deemed
I
our
didn't get mine for 5 months when I was my sickest. Like
same,
that just
same,
shows you.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had PCOS. I would not ovulate, had no period. And then when I would, it would be horrible. It would be terrible. It would be debilitating cramps,
Yeah.
heavy, heavy flow. I would get terrible, premenstrual symptoms. And it's absolutely wild. And when you cultivate this aligned state of health and well-being, you get regular, just like like clockwork menstrual cycles that
Mhm.
are asymptomatic. You no longer get, the acne or
Mhm.
the, anxiety, or like the whatever premenstrual symptoms that you get, bloating, fatigue, whatever. And then you should not be having terrible cramps or a super heavy flow where you're replacing your pad or tampon every hour on the hour, or even less than that.
Mhm.
That is a sign that something isn't right. And for me, didn't have the menstrual cycle. I had like chronic insomnia, depression, anxiety, to where I would get like panic attacks and whatnot. I was constantly getting sick and going to urgent care, the ER, for like either cysts that I needed to get drained, or like growths or whatever that I needed to get drained, cysts, infections that I
Mhm.
needed to take antibiotics for. It was wild, girlfriend. And now I haven't
I
been to
think
the
that just
doctor in years. I haven't been to the doctor in years. I haven't taken an antibiotic or any pharmaceutical for that matter in years, at least 3 years. And so, and my energy level that I feel too, because like I used to feel so fatigued, no motivation. I just felt like shit all day, every day. I never felt energized when I woke up. And it's wild how now, like, I'll get excited because I'm so happy, and it was so worth it to make these hard changes, to stop smoking cigarettes, stop drinking. I'll have like a drink every so often. I drank on New Year's, didn't drink a month before that, but like one or two drinks max. And like keep it as, sparingly and spaced apart as you can. And then I cut out all of the processed foods. No more inorganic processed foods. Stop that shit real quick.
Mhm.
And that was important. And I also, to anyone who's taking medications, please do not let this inspire you to just stop taking your medications. Please consult with your healthcare provider before you stop any medications. Some require tapering before just going off cold turkey. In my case, I just stopped everything. I got to the point of where I was taking Vyvanse to feel awake, but I had such severe adrenal fatigue, and like kind of cognitive decline and brain damage from going 2 to 4 days at a time with zero sleep, and then I would sleep one day. I did this for years, years of where
How? Oh my
I
gosh.
developed a stutter, I developed a stutter that I'm still healing. And if I don't sleep, or if I drink caffeine or something, like if I have a night where I, don't get enough restful sleep, I still have brain damage that I'm healing, which is absolutely wild. And so it's definitely a journey. I've been doing this for years, and for the most part, I'm I'm better in almost every way, shape, and form. I could not have dreamed that I would feel this good ever. Could not have dreamed.
That's an amazing story. Like, I can completely understand
It's
why you're
wild.
doing what you're doing now, especially once I've heard your story, but that also just it's just amazing how resilient the human body is. Like, you can always come back from anything. I know people who've
Oh,
spent decades of their life destroying their health, and then just from like 1 year of changing your habits and loving yourself and eating the right foods, you can reverse disease. You can, it's honestly
seriously,
incredible. Like, it's never too late. At least I hope. I'm pretty sure it's never too late. And if you just, like all the steps you've said,
seriously.
everything we've discussed, if you start caring, implementing, give yourself years. I think people expect
Yours,
they
please,
say this is what
not
happens. They
overnight.
wake up and say, "It's a new year. I'm going to make a change. I'm not going to eat any junk food. I'm going to exercise 5 times a week." When you don't have those habits, and then when you mess up, you give up. But the whole point is to just be
Step by
relaxed, but
step.
just get up and just keep going, and give yourself 2 to 5 years.
And the
Because think
progression
about how
isn't
long it took you to
linear
put yourself in
either.
that state. Took you 5 years, 10 years, 20 years to put yourself in that state. Took me 10 years of probably under eating, restricting, over exercising, a few years of not taking care of my mental health to get into this state. Of
Yep.
course, it's taken me 2 years of implementing the right things to feel this good again.
Yep.
And that's nothing compared to what it could have been, you know?
Seriously. Seriously.
It's
It's
the
not,
long game. Health is the long game.
it really is. It is a lifetime of work. It is a lifetime of work, but it is, again, the most fulfilling and
So
rewarding
fulfilling and
time.
rewarding.
It's honestly fun at times too. The more you learn and the more
Yeah.
benefits that you reap from implementing the knowledge that you've gained over the years of learning is just, it's miraculous. It really is. But I
I
also
just want
want
everyone to
to,
feel, like, amazing and good,
seriously,
you know? I think the human potential is so great, like, I think every human being has huge amounts of potential and can make such a difference, and it doesn't need to be, like, you need to be the most famous person or successful person, but even just your circle around you, you can make such a difference, and you
such a
have so
difference.
much potential, like, you don't have to, you don't have to succumb to these negative core belief systems that you have, like, you
100%.
can make a change. I
100.
think everyone has the power to do that.
We do. We all have the power to do it, but it's about gaining, developing the self-awareness and having the
Yes.
vision and the faith to accomplish the goals that you put into place. Another important thing is to clear emotional and spiritual blockages. For me, a huge piece of my healing and growth was shadow work. I had
Mhm.
a lot of trauma, really rough upbringing. So I had some traumatic events in my childhood that I had no clue were manifesting into behavioral patterns that were negatively affecting me. It was on an unconscious, subconscious level. And it wasn't until I had a moment of reckoning where I went on a road trip with my mom, and I helped her move from Florida to California. So it was a long drive over the course of a few days. And, over the course of that time, we began talking about events that happened in her life and in my life. And over the course of those days, it got deeper and deeper. And by the final day, we talked about some of my trauma, and she had told me things that I didn't know before.
How old were you when it happened, do you know?
From 3 to 5 years old was like the worst trauma. And then I had deaths and loss and abandonment, all kinds of stuff. Um, other things happened, but there was this one period of time where I incurred abuse almost every night
Mm,
for years. And I had blocked it out. I had gone to therapy. Thank God my mom put me in therapy as a little girl once we found out and everything, or once she found out, that I think that was huge with allowing me to like process it out as a child. But you have to revisit these things in different stages of your life in order to reintegrate the healing. You have to
mhm.
you have to heal, revisit, release, and allow the healing and lesson to reintegrate into the new version of who you are. Because whether you're stagnant or not, like, you do become new versions of yourself throughout your life, and they can either be positive or negative. And so
Mhm.
it was imperative that I go through this. It was a time of ego death for me. This was a moment this was a moment in time where I had a choice to either go down the path of darkness, fear, and, just defeat, or I could choose the path of ascension, which required hard work and to stare my demons straight in their eyes and to shine light on the dark parts of myself that I had no idea were causing harm to my psyche and my well-being. And it's scary. It's scary.
That's so powerful. That's really powerful.
But it
Yeah.
but it is important to clear the blockages for your highest growth, because you can only get so high with your health and your mindset and your spiritual connection if you don't clear those blockages.
Mhm.
And I feel so deeply for one of my best childhood friends who, I love her so deeply, but she had a very difficult childhood. And, as I was on this journey, I wanted to share this wisdom and say, like, I know that you had some of these hard things happen to you, and these are things that maybe we can talk about. I'm a safe person if you want to explore these
Mhm.
things together. And it would immediately elicit a very defensive, emotional response that was from a place of fear, and she refused to acknowledge that anything had ever happened. And, you know and I still see that she's still kind of stuck. And,
Mhm.
my
That's
heart.
the thing, you can't change people, like, it has to be completely up to them, and I really, really do think that actually the majority of people in the world have trauma from their childhood and they don't remember it because in the first 7 years of your life, your brain waves are in theta brainwaves, which is a hypnotic state, so you're literally having your subconscious mind being programmed, so something as simple as your mom smacking you, being like, "You don't get candy," or, like, just something simple where your parents just had no idea because I don't doubt I think many parents of this generation will know how important those first years of your baby's life is, but a lot of the older generation's parents just simply were doing their best. They didn't realize that like one loud negative comment can give you this negative belief system, or like how important it is to not leave you alone with someone that you can't trust, or etc. And what the human brain does to in order to survive is to suppress these things. But what you've done is incredibly powerful. It's really hard and
It is
potentially one of the most important and liberating steps you can take, but I know it's really tough, so I'm
it
proud of
is,
you.
but I want people to know that the greatest things in life don't come easy.
Hmm.
Greatest, most rewarding things in life just do not come easy. Whether
Yeah,
that's
easy choices, hard life.
Yep, yep,
Hard
100%.
choices, easy life. But
Yep,
as we said, it gets easier though. It gets
it
easier to eat
does.
healthy. Then it becomes rewarding and it's no longer hard anymore. And then
Yep,
you start taking on new challenges and just upgrading your life, upgrading yourself,
it
getting
is
better relationships.
exponential.
It just keeps getting better.
The first leg of the race really is the hardest, but
Mhm.
that's where you have to break those really solidified patterns and neural networks in order to make space for the positive development. And, Sakshi's
We
absolutely
live in the
right.
information age. Like all the Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, like Dr. David Hawkins, like all of these incredible people and these resources. Like you can literally go on your phone right now,
Yep,
go and listen to the book. You don't even have to read it. You can just listen to it.
yep.
It's like, what excuse do you have left? Like, what excuse is there? Like,
There's
like you
no.
just simply need to want to make a change, love yourself because all the information's out there.
It is. It is. Like, we really do. It's wild. You know, do you have a degree? No, but I have limitless information available to
Oh
me.
my God, don't I hate
I
that
can read
question.
any expert's book. I can read any doctor's book, listen to any podcast, look at any peer-reviewed studies. The information is available. You got to stop making excuses and stop outsourcing your knowledge and health. That's the problem that we
Mm.
have. People are constantly outsourcing their knowledge and their health to doctors, and I'm sorry, but doctors don't have all the information. So maybe
No.
that can be a segue into, the kind of the narrative around, you
I
know,
can't believe you were on so many pharmaceuticals. I can't,
oh,
because I think that's very prevalent in America. Like I'm very lucky that I have never been on like them my whole life. Like my
isn't
mom's
it
always
isn't
been
it
like,
like 9 out of 10 people over the age of 65 are on at least one pharmaceutical?
I can't believe that. Because
It's
when I started having my issues, I did go to the doctor. I went to the doctor a couple of times, and each time they gave me prescription drugs. And it's just like, it was just my intuition. Like at that point, I wasn't awake. I wasn't aware. I didn't know the things I do now. This was at the very beginning of my journey, but it was just my intuition. I looked at these pills and I was like, you're not going to help me. Like this isn't like I'm not lacking in a prescription drug. I'm lacking in like lifestyle factors. Like this is a holistic lifestyle thing. This isn't going to solve my problems. I need to take a good look at every area of my life, and I need to
100%.
work on every area of my life, and I need to, give myself time to do that as well. And I don't know too much about prescription drugs. I know maybe they help some people, but in my case it wasn't even a question. It wasn't going to do anything. And especially with digestive health, I doubt you can fix it with one drug.
No, and pharmaceuticals just like damage the gut more than they, do anything else. And so
Mm.
I remember being 14 years old looking down in my hand and
That's so
having
mad.
9 different pills. 9
No, I can't
different
believe that.
pills. Like it's just so, but bless
No.
my mom's heart. She was a low income single mom, and she had her own past of extreme trauma and difficulty challenges. And so she did the best that she could, but she was someone who heavily relied and relies on pharmaceuticals to survive. And my mom just wanted to help me, but she didn't know or understand that it was lifestyle that was causing all the problems, the trauma that was causing the problems, the food that was causing the problems, and then the pharmaceuticals that were causing more problems. And
Mhm.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I stopped taking that stuff and that I realized that I didn't need that stuff to feel good and to
Mhm.
function properly. And, I remember going to a doctor when I was 19 years old because I had no menstrual cycle. And, I knew my intuition told me I was infertile at that point in time and that it needed to be explored because that shouldn't be the case. And that just felt innately wrong. And I had multiple doctors. I went to 3 different doctors about this. And they all essentially did and said the same thing. They laughed at me, told me that it was a blessing that I didn't have a menstrual cycle and that I was
What?
rendered infertile at 19 years old. They told me, "Are you trying to have kids at such a young age?" They would guilt trip me, gaslight me. It was wild, absolutely wild. And you're told that the birth control pill regulates your period, which it'll give you a withdrawal bleed every month because you are deprived of the chemicals for a week out of a month. But it sure as hell doesn't actually balance your hormones or do anything positive for you. For some women with endometriosis, maybe while they're implementing lifestyle change necessary to help their body heal itself, birth control can help with debilitating cramps and whatever, but it's not something you want to be on for a long time. It's a major
Mm.
endocrine disruptor,
It's
and
not a long-term solution at all.
but most doctors treat it as such.
I just it's just so crazy to me because when I just think about it, like logically, like okay, they have the label of a doctor, but it's just one person. Like if you think about it, like is one person supposed to know everything? There's so much we haven't discovered about human anatomy. We don't even know how we came into existence or who created us. We're
Literally.
such magical beings. There's so
What
much
is
that
consciousness? Why does a
little.
heart beat? What
And yet,
what
because
makes
someone has a title, we have to go to them and trust them. Like, I'm so grateful I'm never gonna be like a doctor or be in that kind of field because I feel like it's given me the power to just be curious and open-minded and learn about all these concepts. And I'm proud. I don't, it was someone like people try to gaslight you all the time on the
all the
internet, being like,
time?
"What's your degree?" I'm like, "I don't care about what you think, because I
If
know there's
my
people out
words
there who
don't
get us."
resonate with you and you have no desire to truly heal yourself and listen to other opinions and ideas, I'm sorry, but you are doomed to a life of feeling like crap. If you really are in such a box that you think a doctor has all the answers because they went to school for this amount of years and learned about one specific area, pathology, like they're
Mhm.
pathologists. They learn
They don't even
symptoms.
learn about nutrition, do they?
It's
For 1 hour maybe.
I believe they get like a small period of time. I think it's a week or a certain amount of hours. It might be like 20 hours or something like that. Do not quote me on that, but I believe they get a small chunk of time. But it's
Mhm.
still based on the like archaic, outdated food pyramid
I've seen
nutrition.
dietitians on TikTok, one with, like,
Oh
almost 2 million
god,
followers,
some of
talk
them are
about how
terrible.
canola oil is safe, and I'm like, "This is not happening."
It's
It's
I do you see it's wild how I've seen nutritionists literally say that you can eat the Snickers bar. It's okay to keep these things in your house, blah 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 blah.
like
It's okay to eat genetically modified, pesticide sprayed food. They don't say that specifically, but they don't have all the pieces. Like there's so many missing pieces, and a lot of these courses or degrees, educations are so limiting because they only focus on a certain subset of ideology and data. And so there's so much that's lost in translation, forgotten, and never even looked at. And it really does blow my mind. And then the dietitians that only focus on macros, I'm like, oh, you're
Yes.
stop it.
It's like, just focus, and also, like, people are just focused on the calories, like, it doesn't matter what you eat as long as it's, like, within your calorie quota. I'm like, "That's not true."
That is
Okay,
so
I
not
don't I've
true.
definitely been on the extremist side of health where
Sure,
I've had orthorexia,
sure.
perfectionism. I don't agree with it. I like going out once in a while and having drinks. If I want a donut, I'm gonna go get a donut, but the thing with me now is I never crave a processed food or get it every day or even, like, every week. It's just, it doesn't control me. Like, I naturally crave, like, real foods, and that's the most important thing,
Yep,
in that sense. But yeah, I completely agree. I mean, everyone's on their own journey, but all I'm
yep,
gonna say is I'm really grateful because I do feel like, I think you have like 80K followers now, and that to me makes me so excited because I'm like, there's 80,000 people out there who resonate with what you're saying, and I don't care about the people out there who are like, "Oh, are you a doctor?" Because there are people out there who are open-minded and they're curious and they
yep,
connect with people like us, and they're willing to learn and they're willing to listen, and we were those people as well when we were learning from other creators, and those are the people I'm so excited to like connect with and share videos with, and I'm so grateful that they exist because it makes you feel a bit sane in like an insane world.
100%. Yeah, you are not the only one. We are not the only ones.
No, there's so many of us. I'm so happy. Like, this is why I made my online page.
I know. I hated social media for the longest time, and it was hard to get, the personal social media, and then the TikTok was, so I literally downloaded TikTok and then started creating content. I had no period of time where I was watching other creators and trying to figure out how it works and what other people were doing or anything because I was so resistant. I was so resistant to downloading TikTok for like a year and a half. My boyfriend and friends were all on TikTok, and I'm like, this shit's a cancer. It's all people dancing on there,
Mhm.
and it's just lowering people's vibrations, causing addiction and disconnection from reality. Little did I know that there are thousands of people like us on there spreading the truth about the matrix, helping people wake up, become financially free, helping people become healthy,
Mhm.
reigniting the ancestral wisdom written in our cells. And so
It's
I'm
social media, yeah, sorry.
grateful. I am so grateful for TikTok. 100%.
Yeah,
Girl, I'm at almost 90,000 now. I'm like, I couldn't even
it's an
fathom that so
incredible
many people
tool.
resonate with what I had to say. and there's so
Yeah.
many other people spreading such wisdom and knowledge and helping people to reclaim their power. Because that's the thing, we've been giving away our power for so long. We're trained, we're
Mhm.
conditioned, we're brainwashed to outsource and give away our power. And so I am so excited. I'm so excited to be talking to you. I'm so excited to be connecting with so many like minded individuals and free thinkers and people who truly care about whole health and have the vision for the future of not just yourself, but for the world.
Mhm.
It's inspiring,
Yeah.
it's motivating.
Social media isn't going anywhere as well, and I think it is honestly such a powerful tool if you use it properly, but just like any other tool, if you exploit it, it's gonna be bad. My entire TikTok newsfeed is literally just like health stuff, motivation stuff, and cute animals, and that's that's what the algorithm knows I like now. Like, I don't get dancing videos, like, barely ever unless they're,
I've
like, really cool dancing
never,
videos.
yeah,
But
I don't think maybe in the very beginning, but I do love the algorithm that you can create, what you want to see. It's nice because
mm,
it can be such a zone out, disconnect, and lowered place to be, but it can also be a place to learn, a place to get
mm.
inspired, a place to connect. And so, yeah,
As you said, there's so many people like us that care and wanna help. You can learn I've learned so much from being on TikTok and
seriously.
Inst oh my god, I literally healed because of Instagram, like, because all these incredible creators that just share all this free information, and they're so supportive. It's this amazing community. Like, I started off I'm still a really, really small creator, but they support you, you know? Like, we all support each other, like, we're all on the same wavelength, like, it's yeah. I think social media is really powerful. You gotta put the app limits, the screen time on your phone so it's not too addictive, but,
Seriously.
um
Yeah. I kind of have to force myself to scroll sometimes because it's still tough. But I'm like, it's good. It's important to see what other people are doing. I'm like, oh, I love her, and then I'm
Yeah.
like, you gotta find the trending sounds, girl. But
Yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah. I'm like, "It's research, it's research."
it's research, it's work, it's work, it's work.
But
But
I'm mainly just, like, cute dog videos all the time. That's, like, my feed.
I know there are some good, funny things, and laughing is good. Laughing is good for you. It really is
There was
medicine. Really is.
genuinely, I have laughed so hard being on TikTok, like, some of the comments that I see just kill me, like, I'm just dying, like,
The
this
comment
morning, I was
sections are the
crying.
best. They're the best. Sometimes, like, a real stupid video will pop up, and I'm just like, I just gotta see what people are saying. And people are so funny, dude. They're so
So funny. Like, honestly, there's, like, the other end where I'm like some of the comments, I'm like, "Everyone needs to stop complaining." But then some of the funny videos where everyone's just making jokes, and I'm like, "This is brilliant. It's incredible."
Mhm.
But, yeah, I'm very grateful for TikTok as well.
Seriously. Do you have any tips for anyone maybe who has information and like feels compelled to share this information with people but like doesn't know where to start maybe?
Mhm. Um, like, I've said this a couple of times, but if for me, like, when I started this is gonna sound silly, but when I started taking Shilajit, honestly, like, my anxiety, it's like this powerhouse of minerals. And I was eating pro-metabolic, so when I started feeding myself a lot of food, taking the right supplements, I suddenly like, my anxiety kind of just disappeared around the topic, and I felt the courage to post again. But more than anything, if you forget about, like, the physical foundational, supplements, you just have to go for it. You just have to if you feel anxious and you feel afraid, remember you're not your thoughts and you're not your feelings. You can just become self-aware, step outside of that. Just think like you're one person in 7 billion. And what I love to tell myself is when you're feeling anxious, you're thinking about yourself. But if you start thinking about other people, like I used to tell myself in the beginning when I had literally no followers, I'd be like, if this can even help one person, it makes a difference. It really does. If your video of what you're trying to share can even help one person, it makes a difference. And don't post for followers or for likes or for any of that. Don't when you feel inspired, like then go post. Like I don't post every day. I work a full-time job. I'm not going to sacrifice my health for posting every day. I post when I feel inspired, and I know that I will grow naturally when it's meant to be, and that makes me happy. I'm very happy with like the following that I have. But don't do it for the likes, don't do it for the followers. Do it for the real intention of wanting to add value to people's lives, and then you'll forget about how you're feeling.
100%. 100%. Yeah, you just got to get over that hump and just, create when you feel inspired, and really honestly just keep the vision there that you're trying to
Yeah.
help people, and it's one step at a time.
Follow me and Taylor, and we'll support you.
We really will. I mean, and I love, it's wild. Like I have some gals who followed me a long time ago, or at least like when I started. I don't know how long I've been doing TikTok, maybe like 7 or 8 months or something.
Mhm.
And some of them have been, with me and supporting me and resonating with my words since I only had like a few thousand followers. I have this gal Dallas who is just the sweetest little soul, and I want her to start making content because, like, has learned so much and wants to help people too. And I love supporting, and I do so many free consultations as well. I have scheduling software on my website so that people can schedule consultations with me, um, for guidance, for either fertility guidance, health, life, and mindset guidance. And I do probably like 3 or 4 free consultations a week, just 30-minute consultations. But I have the time and I have the energy, and a lot of us really want to help people. We
Mm.
really, I want people to feel the way that I feel. I want people to learn what I've learned and experience the level of healing that I've gotten to achieve
Mhm.
and experience, because no one I would not wish the way that I felt on anyone ever. Ever. And everyone deserves a chance at healing and growth, and to feel their best and highest self, and confident and in love with life, in love with themselves, and just inspired and motivated and fulfilled. And so, it's there's a lot of good that can be done, and it's just one step at a time. And if you're someone who feels like you want to try to reach out to people and get out there, it's not going to be perfect at first. Man, like my
We still have a long way to go.
my
It's
first
just the
video,
beginning.
seriously, and like it can become exerting. And so do what Sakshi does, and like just post when you feel inspired, and when it's
Mhm.
quality information, and you're not burning yourself out, because I've honestly gotten burnt out a couple of times, because
Mhm.
I do a lot between the website and making money on the side, and then doing my business, and then creating content, you know but there's a vision,
Mhm.
also, making sure that you're taking care of your health too, you know being active every day, or almost every single day, and then making sure that you're eating nutrient dense foods, and you're taking your supplements every day, and you're practicing that positive mindset, you're getting quality sleep, you're getting sun, you're getting your red light therapy. You got to make sure that you first and foremost take care of yourself, because you cannot benefit other people's lives if you are not first taking care of yourself. You have
Mhm.
to first and foremost put yourself first, so that you can be of service, of quality service to others. Um,
Absolutely. I think the last time I reached burnout was 6 months ago, and I would
yeah,
keep reaching it every few weeks, and I haven't had it for the last 6 months because I just got to a point where I was like, "Why how contradictory of me to be posting about health and wellness if I honestly got to a really bad place where I felt so down and depressed that I started therapy in the summer last year. I did it for 4 weeks. I really rate therapy. I think everyone should try it. But then I realized that I just needed to give myself time to rejuvenate. I wasn't actually like depressed. I was just
yep,
exhausted and burnt
yep,
out.
yep,
And like I say, like I think as long as you're being authentic, like your time will come. And there's literally no such thing as too many people in the health space. Like we need as many people as possible sharing the truth. Like everyone can make a difference. Like we
100%.
need you. Like if it's your dream, if you want to do, if you want to do that, just go for it.
Yep. Yeah, because we all have a community out there, and some people are going to resonate with your word more than others, but it's important that
Exactly.
we as
Yeah.
a community reach as many people as we possibly can, to grow this web and raise the collective
Mhm.
energy field. Like it's imperative for the direction and the future of society. And Sakshi's in the UK, I'm in the US, and so it's important to create this web of, informed, free thinking warriors that care about, people, that care about each other and the future of the world and the future of ourselves, the future of our children.
You know what this idea just came to my head? In like 1 or 2 years, we should throw a retreat and we should invite all of these people. We should all meet up in person and we'll throw like a health and wellness retreat and we'll invite all of these little creators or people who
Yep,
want to join us. It'll,
100%.
it'll be awesome. Like we'll
Yeah,
we'll do meetups in the future.
girl, I'm
This is
game.
just the beginning, yeah.
I'm game. I'm 100% game. Is
We'll
there
have a red light therapy room, a sauna room. We'll have
yes,
mornings by the pool. It'll
keynote
be breath
speakers,
work.
motivational speakers, breathwork,
Yeah.
yoga, all kinds of stuff?
Oh, yoga every morning, breath work. I know we're probably short on time now, but I want to tell you really quickly about an experience I had with breath work.
Yes,
And I went to a breathwork class and I had something called a transcendental experience.
yeah,
And I've been kind of too scared to go back since then, but I am going to go back and revisit it. But essentially, I remember lying there and we were doing really deep, like really oxygenating ourselves. And
right,
I left the world. I left the world. I went into a different world. I totally tripped out. And then I remember my eyes opening briefly, and then I saw the teacher walking towards me, and I was like, "That's strange." And then I went back into the world, and I can't imagine what's happening, but it was the most vivid, like dreamlike state. I went into a parallel universe. It was crazy. When I woke up properly, my arms were by my side, and when I'd woken up, my arm was up here, and the teacher was actually walking towards me to like give me a pillow or like stop me from hitting someone because apparently my arm was like moving because what happens when you're doing breath work is like you releasing trauma and trapped emotions that's like
right.
stored in your body. So breath work is like it was really just I'm sure I released some like childhood trauma in that session. Like there's
Awesome.
so many amazing tools out there that you can try.
Seriously. My goodness. There are so many ways, yes, to like
Yeah.
get into an altered mind state and to help heal your body. That's wild. I know
Hmm.
I need to start doing I do Kundalini breath work occasionally after a yoga practice, but I need to be doing it more for sure.
Me too.
100%.
Let's stay accountable to each
Hey,
other.
all right, accountability buddy. That's another thing.
Let's do it.
If you have a hard time sticking to something, keeping the discipline, get an accountability
Yeah.
buddy. It helps tremendously. For real.
Once a week, or even once every 2 weeks, you set your intentions with them, your goals, say, "This is what I wanna do every day." I probably need that. Do you wanna be my accountability buddy? Because I said I was gonna
I
meditate
volunteer
for
as
11
sister.
minutes a day, I thought, and read 5 pages of a book every day, and I've just as soon as I started work again, I've just been slacking, but it's so important to me. I really love
Yeah.
those core habits.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We'll message each other afterward and see what our
Yes.
intentions, and I'm down. Is there anything else that you want to talk about or touch
Just
on?
one point I wanted to share is I did touch upon all of the points, but I have written a guide. It feel like I've written a short book, but it's just a guide. It's not going to solve all your problems, but it's just a collection of tips and tricks and resources. And I really think if you invest in the things I've mentioned in there, if you read the books that I've mentioned, they will help you. I'm very happy. I'm gonna elaborate and go into a lot more detail in individual posts. But if there's anything you want me to mention or talk about more, you can just comment on my videos, DM me, and I will do my best. But the link is in my Instagram bio. So if you want a guide on digestion and healing and just things that have helped me in terms of mindset and the supplements I talked about, it's all in there.
Wellness with Sakshi on
Wellness with
Instagram and
Sakshi.
TikTok.
Yes.
Yeah, I know, girl. These guides, I've been working on a how to detoxify your life guide, and again, yeah, I feel like I'm writing a book. I've been working on it for months and
It's
months.
so easy to procrastinate. Like, it's
It
really
it
easy.
honestly is, and you're right. The most difficult part about laying it down is putting it down in like an aesthetically pleasing, digestible, presentable way.
Yeah.
I had to go
Designing it was harder.
completely because there are no templates that are
Yeah.
conducive to creating these types of guides, and so you have to completely create something from scratch, and that's
Mhm.
it's hard, and then yeah, you procrastinate, you get busy, you got other stuff to do, and so it just takes time.
You got
heart
this. It's
Heart and soul goes into these guides.
yes.
Sakshi put her heart and soul into this guide, so please.
I'm so happy it's out. You
Yes,
have to get yours out. It's
yes.
such a good feeling.
It's almost done. It's almost done. Like it's I'm so happy about it, and I have already like a ton of other guides that I want to do, like
Yay.
how
Yeah.
to natural birth, or like how to pregnancy or fertility, pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. I want to do like a guide for
Mhm.
that, and then like a nutrition guide, and this one's just how to detoxify your life, and so this one goes over um very prominent toxins in our environment like phthalates, parabens, BPA, and different toxins, fragrant stuff like that,
Yeah.
that can help give you a leg up if you get these out of your life. And so, because I get so many questions like, you talk about all these endocrine disrupting chemicals and whatnot, like, where do I begin? What do I look for? How do I switch over? And
It's so
so
hard to in one
it's so
comment or one video or one post to, like, explain everything. That's why I think these guides are really powerful.
they are important, and it's tangible, it's not a video that you have, it's written, and it's in like a fun to read, colorful way, and so it's
Mhm.
downloadable so that you can have it at your fingertips all the time. But yes, I am so excited. Please go check out Sakshi's guide in her link on her Instagram in her bio. Thank you so so much. I seriously
Thank
get so
you.
up, so inspired, so motivated when I talk to you. I'm so glad that you and I connected. I'm so glad that we found each other, and
I know, I
this is
feel the
the first of
same.
many, many
Yes,
podcasts that we'll have
definitely.
together. I'm sure we should also do like a TikTok live sometime, because I think that I
Yeah.
would love that. But there's like
Yeah, especially after, I think that's after this, they'll know we're friends, so
yeah,
we can do
seriously.
more.
Absolutely. And we're just like firing all cylinders when you and I are
I
talking.
know, we could just keep talking for
I know,
ages.
forever, 100%. Okay, sister, thank you so, so, so much.
Thank you
Again,
for having
Wellness
me.
with Sakshi on TikTok and Instagram. For me, I'm Get Real Girlfriend on TikTok, and then SuperiHER Wellness on Instagram. And this is the SuperiHER podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. This is one of many to come, and so thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time, guys.